It's the shortest 60 seconds ever.
It does go by super fast.
It's so fast. I don't think that's an actual 60 seconds.
I don't think I can count to 60 that fast.
But the little drum beat, like, did who put that together?
Every time, bro, it gets me. We talk about this every time we start the show. And again, welcome, guys, to the DJ discussion Play Out Loud from home QSC. We got my man Dylan Weisman. I'm Nate Nelson from Dallas, Texas. Happy Wednesday, man.
Yeah, man. Last time, the only time we get it to cut it up, just us two, is when we're like button heads over fantasy football.
And I almost started off. I was like, man, it's just Dylan and I today, and I should start this thing off like, welcome to another episode of the DJ TT Think Tank Fantasy Football Podcast. I'm your host, but no, we're not there today. We're QSCing it up, talking all things DJ life, live events, sound, performance, weddings, all across the board. Dylan, what we want to chat about today, man?
Yo, the first thing I want to chat about is I am so excited for the fall because the inside trader information tells me that there's going to be a good amount of like inventory coming back for like speaker gear and lighting gear. And I need to buy some stuff. And I mean, I really like, that's the first thing that's on my mind is like, I need some gear. And I think this fall is going to bring, I've been, panning through the boards and I'm looking through all the different chat windows and I'm seeing people just hungry for gear because all their events are back in one way or another. And I think people are trying to upgrade their gear. So the first thing I want to talk about is one of my absolute favorite pieces of gear that I'm going to be buying more of is my K.2 subs. The little compact babies. Oh my God, they are so good. Nate, how many of them do you own?
The KS112s we only have 2 of, but the 118s we've got 6.
Right, the 118s we have 4 of, but the K.2s guys are so awesome for those like 100-person, 150-person bangers that you're throwing with these smaller event crowds.
Dude, the 112s, I would put them up against the 181, the original powered sub from QSC. Those 118s. You feel like you're just in a concert level arena in a ballroom. They beat so hard, but I am hoping to get my hands on some of those 212s, the dual cardioid subs.
The cardioids.
Yeah, those are fire too. But I know, man, I've seen a lot of stuff in the comments and on all the web stuff and on Facebook and all the groups of people just trying to get speakers and everything's back ordered. So that stuff's coming, guys. Be ready for it. Keep up with your gear and make sure that you're professional and you're out there. But I'm excited for some new gear too. I've kind of got some new gear, so I'm kind of still just rocking and rolling with it. But
right.
Yeah, and I know you just picked up some new gear too, so it's like Christmas in August, man.
Yeah, it is, and it's all because I'm starting, at least in the Philadelphia, New Jersey side of things, we're starting to see some really creative ways to use our gear differently. Like out of nowhere, I just sold black lights for like 3 or 4 different events coming up in the next 4 weeks, just as like an add-on extra. Like people want to have a black light after party. So it's like strange. I'm seeing just like a trend of what is old is new again and what's old is hot again. And it's like, I never really thought about
the 90s are back, bro. The 90s are back. I know you didn't live that long in the 90s, but the 90s are back.
I was born in 93, so I had the majority of it. Get out of here.
I lived all 10 years through the 90s. You didn't get that luxury. So, and I was old enough to understand. I was 8 years old in 1990, so
yeah, you're old. You're old as dirt. No, you don't. You're old as dirt.
Yeah, all good.
Let the record show that I beat Nate Nelson in a race on the beach about a month ago.
We talked about this. And
I know. I don't want to
it's hard. It's hard for a race to, and you should, Dylan. You're smaller, younger, and more athletic than me in some ways. But I ran the other way, so it's not really a race when you're not going the same distance. So don't really worry about that. The big thing is that Dylan did win in fantasy football last year, but that's not happening again this year. I promise you.
We'll see. Nate, I want to chat. So DJ discussion is all about the different layers and levels of what makes DJs great. And QSC is so smart for putting us on and to talk about those creative options. I want to talk a little bit about wedding after parties. It's a trend that I'm seeing on the East Coast that we're having shorter wedding celebrations. No more are we having the 5 or 5.5 hour like sit down galas. Instead, what we're having is these 3.5 to 4.5 hour events. And then they're either flipping the room, inviting different people, or changing locations completely and having after parties. And we are finding ways to get bigger and badder sales in the after parties. Is that something that you guys are seeing? I know that you guys have done a lot of stuff like that. But it's a trend that I'm seeing on the East Coast more than ever now.
Yeah, I just got an inquiry this morning from a planner that I work with all the time that hit me up and was like, "Hey, are you available this date? Please tell me yes. Please tell me yes. I have the perfect event for you." And I'm like, "Yeah, look at the date. Yes, I'm available." And she says it's only a 2-hour event, and I'm like, "Is it a wedding?" She's like, "Yeah." I was like, "You don't need me to MC?" She's like, "Oh, the band's going to handle everything. You're going to be in a completely separate location. It's an after party." And so I'm like, "Okay, dope." So I've had 3 or 4 of those coming recently where I'm getting paired with some of the high-end bands here in Dallas and just playing that after party so that the clients can get both sides of it. You know, family may want the band, but then I get to come in a completely different location on the same property, just in a different ballroom. There's going to be a tent outside where they're having the main party, and then once there's a noise ordinance outside, they're going to come inside and then allow me to continue to rock that party throughout, you know, the end of the night and let everybody have some fun. So the after parties are great. And even if you know, for us, we're fortunate we have multiple DJs on our team. If you have we've been able to sell 2 DJs on one event where we had one be the main MC and DJ for the party, actual wedding reception, and then we'd have a different DJ over at the after party. So it's kind of, you know, if you're partying in one way and you want a different flair, a different style, you can actually send them over to something else for the after party, which is cool as well.
Yeah, I love that. And I'm also finding that I'm actually asking them, "Hey, what are you doing for your after party?" As if it's supposed to happen regardless, you know, as opposed to like, and then they're like, "Wait, I'm not having an after party. Should I be having an after party?" Well, you don't need to have an after party, but it's a really nice touch. We get to change it up a little bit. Here's some of the things that we can do. And I have ready to go, like, here are some fun after party ideas. And we're getting into like fun food markets, like we're doing newsstands and like Philly cheesesteak stands or like Dunkin' Donut stands. It's wild. It's wild. And the after parties are end up booking almost as much as the wedding portions, if not more. And sometimes you can get away with a more club style atmosphere where you don't need the poised, polished, professional MC side of it. You need more of like an edgy, open format club. I love the idea of partnering up with a band because we get a lot of inquiries for like when live music goes out to play in between sets, but it ends up never matching up price point wise for us to do it well. So now what you're saying is, hey, the band's going to play for 4 hours or 5 hours, and we're going to come in and play all the stuff that the band really wasn't geared to do, like a lot of that hip hop stuff, or you know, a lot of the club stuff, or you know, the boots and cats, you know, EDM style stuff. So I think that that's really, really, really smart. And maybe reaching out to my local bands would be a good fit there.
Yeah, man. If you have bands in your area that you work with, or if you've ever been paired up with before, like that was something I did a few years ago, and it's worked wonders for me. I've been able to travel the country with that band, and then you know, a lot of times it's hard, and DJs and other people that are MCs and things like that, sometimes they don't clash well with a band, or they do clash with a band because we always are in this ego world where, we're better than them and things like that. And it goes back to what I preach all the time, relationships and playing nice in the sandbox. Like, go be the best thing that could happen to that band and help them out. Ask them if they're going to be playing any of the songs that you may think about playing, and compare your notes and what their set list may be. So you're actually concerned about what they're doing, so you guys aren't doing the same thing. Play nice with those people. Talk to the people that are in front of it. Help them out if they are not wanting to MC and your job doesn't happen until the after party. Be there and MC that party for you so that the guests actually can see you. And then later on the night, they're like, "Oh man, that was the guy that was talking to us earlier," if you're a good MC. Right. So, play nice with those people, because you never know where you're going to come in at. And JSG in the building.
Put your hands back on the wheel, damn it.
That's not You don't have driving? Like a window device where you can stick that thing up on the window, Jeff?
I don't. It's just a little thing on the car. I don't have anything up top over here.
Well, we're talking after parties, and you did a pretty sweet after party not too long ago, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I actually love after parties. We did a bunch of them. I mean, I don't know what you guys were talking about before, but I mean, I like after parties because it's just a great way to like let loose on some stuff you wouldn't play before. You know, and I think it's a good opportunity to add some extra upsells to after parties.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I love them.
I love them. Yeah, you get to like, you can drop pop punk that you otherwise wouldn't be able to do, or like some ratchet hip hop. Like you can really get creative. This is where like the nth degree of creativity comes into play here. You also can do some really cool things like your silent disco, Nate. You've done that. Where you have a couple different DJs play a couple different styles of music. I just think that there's a way to get really creative with the after parties. And if you're not asking about them, you should, because in most cases they are. And if they're having it really close, whether it be at a nearby hotel or something. Like, I'll tell you my craziest story. The first time I ever did an after party was actually impromptu. And I was DJing out in a small farm town called Bluebell here in PA. And we were DJing and we were rocking. We were having such a good time, and the party ended. And we were sort of like breaking down, and we thought the night was over. And the groom comes up to me and says, "Hey, we're having an after party at the hotel across the street. Can you come and DJ it?" And I'm like, yeah, this happened maybe 3 years ago. Yeah, I guess. And he and his groomsmen, because it was across the street, all picked up a speaker, a wire box, or my mixer, and we walked it over to the hotel. And we parked it in their bar. And we ripped for like, I don't know, an hour and a half at night. And the bar was popping because they never had a live DJ there before. They paid the hotel to just let me come in, and I ripped till probably about 3 a.m. It was so much fun. And I'll never forget the fact that the groom on his wedding day is carrying a speaker across the street to the hotel. It was awesome.
That's pretty legit. And did they pay you for that, Dylan, or you just go out of the goodness? Okay, good. You got paid for that.
Oh, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about silent disco because that's something that we do all the time. You know, if you're ever in areas or spaces where you're outside, or if you're in a venue and things get shut down because of noise ordinances, you can't play past this time. Like, having silent disco is something that you should put in your back pocket. It doesn't have to be something that you own per se. You can rent it from a company like mine, or you can rent it from other different companies on the websites, or that you can find if you just search on Google for silent disco headphones. But it's a great thing. And if you've never experienced it before, it's just a party with no sound. We do it with, you know, a minimum of 2 DJs, but we try to get 3 on there, so you can do 3 different genres. Maybe you can do battle of the DJs and just try to, you know, play a competition to see who's on which color transmitter. And, you know, our headphones change colors, but that's something we sell all the time for, like, oh, we're at this venue and that we know that you have to shut off sound by 10 o'clock at that venue, but they're starting late because it's a Friday, so the reception's cut short. And I'm like, well, why don't you just go a little later and we'll do a silent disco for you and bring those things in. And those are added benefits that you can give to your clients, but also raise your top dollar on what your ticket prices are going to be.
Yep.
Yeah, dude.
Having it available.
Right. And by us in Jersey, I think like silent disco is I think I'm trying to hopefully make it a bigger thing by us, because there's a lot of people in our area now are trying to find these, like, they're sick of like the regular box venues. They're trying to find these unique spaces, these outdoor farms, these whatever it is, and we deal with it all the time. You know, you can't play 1 second past 10 p.m. I'm gonna be walking around with this decibel meter, and they want you to play it like 54 dB, which is like basically the same volume of someone using a pencil in an office, you know, to like check mark stuff, you know, like.
Right. The conversation levels are louder than 50 dB.
Right. Nate, I can think of probably 30 venues off the top of my head that would crush in New Jersey. And it's one of those things that, and I just saw at the DJ Expo, there was a company there actually selling the hardware. You know, I took some info on it too. And we've rented it a couple times for things before, but I think that is,
I'm sending 100 headphones and 3 transmitters to New York in September in a couple of weeks. So, I mean, it's something that, you know, if you guys need them and want to try them out, hit me up. If you have my, you know, contact info and you're watching this, hit me up. We've got, you know, over 700 headphones, so we can ship nationwide and try it out and then see if it's something that works for you. I think that if people have never experienced it before, it is something that is really different. It's really fun as an entertainer to watch too, because if you take your headphones off and you can't mix hearing, you have to wear your Q headphones and one of the silent disco headphones to actually listen to what's playing, what's going through the program, and what you want to bring in. But if you take both of those headphones off just for a second and just listen to the audience and listen to everybody laughing and singing along and yelling at their friend, change it to blue, change it to blue. Like, those things are great just to see the energy, and it's something completely different that you can just go out there and have fun with. So silent disco is one of my favorite things to add on for after parties.
So cool. It's so cool.
What do you charge for those? Like, if I could ask Nate, like, is there like an average price? I mean, if you're shipping, if you're local, if you're not sending it across the country or whatever.
So for a client or for a cross rental? Because I have a client price and I have a cross rental price.
No. What are you selling to your clients?
We're selling them for $7 a headphone.
No, like for your clients.
Yeah. $7 a headphone, and then $50 per transmitter. So if it's and then we do a cheaper rate if they book. Like, sometimes they'll try to do one DJ, and it's cool, but it's just not fun. So if they book 2 of our DJs, we give them a discount off the headphones. I think we go to $6, and then if they do all 3 DJs, then we go to $5, because then there's obviously more money for us to be made on that. And then we'll try to do other add-ons and enhancements. So we did a really cool party for a restaurant here in Dallas that's got like 14 locations, and they closed their stores all in one day. And we had one big party at Opera Nightclub. And I was downstairs on the main stage, and we lit the whole stage up blue. And I was the blue DJ. So I'm wearing blue clothes. There's uplights and drape behind me. Everything's blue. And then upstairs in the balcony, we brought in white drape as well. And we would put, 3 or 4 uplights on the white drape and light it up green. And then over on the other side, we had white drape. And then we would put 4 or 5 uplights there and light it up red. And so we would have a green DJ, a red DJ, and a blue DJ. And the people could see where we were because we aesthetically lit it up and charged for the drape. We charged for the uplights. So we're building that ticket price by building around the silent disco. We've also brought in lucite bar facades. We've done other things to kind of attract the attention towards the green, the red, the blue, to make it something that is an experience and not just, we're going to start handing out headphones and you guys are just going to continue to party or whatever. So
right. And we used it for like bar and bat mitzvah dinner times, because when you have different dinner times, the adults want to be like, able to hear each other, but the kids want to sing and dance during that time. So it allows us to, do something creative in one space as well. So there's lots of opportunities in the silent disco. Jeff, you mentioned, because we're actually doing a shortened show here today, Jeff. So we're moving fast here. One of the things that you mentioned was the DJ Expo that happened last week. Let's do kind of a quick rundown of that. First and foremost, my takeaway is those who show up to expos for education are the winners of their market. Those who believe that they have nothing more to learn from those expos or trade shows or anything like that, I think are the DJs who struggle, either with trending topics, hardships, whatever it may be. That's a personal thought. It is not an attack. It's a thought. It's a theory. And the reason I say that is because the best people I've ever met in the industry have been at trade shows. And the people who I see get into altercations or fights, in the industry are the ones who don't attend those shows.
On social media?
On social media, or like in my local market, like DJs who are struggling with X, Y, and Z things. I don't know, guys. I just think that there's those who value education are the ones who are their own pocket leaders. And that's my big takeaway from the DJ shows, is that you got to find one and you got to go. And if you don't go, I think you're missing an opportunity.
Dylan, it goes back to the old phrase, if you're not adapting, you're dying. And if you're not, and by adapting, I don't just mean whatever the trends are, or whatever these other things are, but I feel like, people that feel like they've got everything that they need to succeed and they're just going to stay in one area, they're going to gradually fall off and die because they're not, continuing to move forward. They're not excelling. They're not heading in the right direction. So, people that are out there learning to educate themselves and do those things, they're going to continue to try to be at the top of their game. And you can't get to the top of the game and then say, I made it, and then never do anything else about it again. You have to continue to educate yourself. That's why it's called continuing education. You have to continue to try to raise the bar in your market. You have to try to raise the bar within your team, and you have to try to raise the bar within yourself. If you personally feel comfortable, you get content and you never stop trying to be better. And if you continue to try to be better, then you are going to work towards that to be the best. So it's just a mentality and a brain set. And I totally agree with you. The best people that I've met in the industry, including you two, are my friends and the people that I see at trade shows and at conferences and at educational things, because we are continuing as leaders of our industry to educate ourselves, but also to give back and teach the people that we've, the things that we've learned and the mistakes that we've made, pass those things on so that other people can continue to grow as well.
Yeah,
it's just.
I totally agree too. Sorry, Dylan.
No, go ahead, Jeff.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, there's a lot of expos where I'm usually working at, so I do miss out on a lot of the seminars. But I think the good thing is that even just being at the expo, I get recaps. Like, hey, I couldn't make it so and so's. What's the recap? But not only that, but at least at the expo, you have time to connect with like-minded people. So, for example, if I missed a couple seminars, I know people that I want to connect with that went to that seminar because I was working. What was it about? But you get that one-on-one time. So you can not only learn from just being in the seminar, but just like being around like-minded people at these conferences. So it's not. I think it's like a double win. If you can get into a seminar and connect with these people, it's like you went 2 for 2. But going 1 for 2 isn't bad either. But like if you don't go, like I said, you go 0 for 2. So I 100% agree with both of you guys.
It's kind of like, I believe from the educational standpoint that a lot of it happens by osmosis, like just being around good, smart individuals, you're going to pick something up and you may not even realize that you picked it up. So that's my plug for trade shows in general. Like, go to them. And if you feel as though it's not worth it for X, Y, and Z reasons, I would say, try to check your ego one time, just one time. Check your ego one time, which leads me to our final topic for today. About Nate, you mentioned earlier, and it was a good segue, but now it's an even better segue about us as DJs, our rock stars. We are, often the most popular people in the room. But I think that when you have a mentality like that, you often miss opportunities to get real creative and really step out of your comfort zone and do even better. The reason I bring this up is because this weekend I had 2 weddings for 2 different couples who, for lack of a better term, are never the coolest people in the room. Therefore, their friends aren't, therefore their family's not. And they were 2 of my favorite weddings I've ever done because I didn't feel like I had to be on and like cool and trendy. I was able to just be a person and excited and out there and goofy and silly and entertain them without compromising anything. And it's just like, I wouldn't have done that had I not checked myself and said, okay, I don't need to be performing Master Dylan Weisman. You know what I mean? I hope that makes sense.
Kinda. I don't know what it transitions to, because you were like, it's a great transition, and you kind of yeah. I don't know where you want me to go with it if you were asking for me to say something else. I get what you're saying. Like, it's good sometimes to have all different types of events, but I think that walking into any event, you shouldn't feel like you have to try to be somebody that you're not. You should always try to be yourself.
Let me try differently. This is I think the point. It just kind of became clear to me. This is the point. As entertainers, we're jaded to being the biggest, baddest, craziest, amazing. We want hands jumping, fist pumping, like every time. And if we go into an event knowing, oh my God, this one's going to drag based on this request list or this venue or this group of people, and we go into it with like kind of our head down and like, oh, this is going to be tough. This is going to be a tough one. I think we get in our own way. Where this weekend, I could have had that mentality, because that's kind of what I was set up with between request lists and the type of people that they were. And I went into there, instead of saying that, which is a kind of a habit of us as entertainers, I went into it saying, no, we are going to go in there. We're going to be it's going to be the best party ever. It's going to be amazing. We're going to kick ass. And I think that translated to our performance and our show. And I think that's where the point was, is, getting out of our own way because of our ego is something that, I think benefited me this weekend. Thoughts?
Ego's a killer, bro. Ego's a killer.
Yeah, it's funny. When I'm DJing, I'd rather, even like if I'm working in a nightclub or something like that, I'm like the first guy, like, hey, can you shut the spotlights off on me? Like, if I'm at an event place and, you know, like if you're on a riser or stage and they got like the stage, whatever, I'm like, yeah, no one needs to see me. It's kind of cool. Like, I like it, you know, I mean, I'm always who I am. I'm an energetic person, it's just my nature. But at the same time, like, I don't need to have a spotlight on me. And like, I think I'm pretty shitty at like taking compliments. Like, I always just like, you know, like a thank you and whatever. I don't need big accolades and stuff like that. But I do know what you're saying, Dylan, about those type of parties. Because sometimes, you know, I don't know if it's us that feel like we have to put it on there, but I think our couples, you know, just the way they portray us through seeing social media and stuff like that, you know, like I call anyone who's not a DJ like a civilian. So like when civilians are looking at us, they think that you're like this in this whatever status and blah, blah, blah. And I think sometimes couples make me more nervous because they build me up. Oh my God, I saw you at so-and-so events and I've been following your stories and it's going to be so hype and blah, blah, blah. And I feel like that like lays on you. It lays and you're just like, okay. Instead of you just,
it's pressure.
Sometimes it gets me out of my comfort like zone. Like it's like, okay, I don't know if I could just be me. I got to be like me plus I just clone me again, me. You know, like, you know, so I think sometimes like what you're saying, it's almost like the client puts that on you. So when you get clients that are so chill, so normal, or awkward, or just whatever, or just down to just be, like you said, goofy, like I think that layer comes off of you and you can just be like your normal performing you, as opposed to like what this client, you know, perceives you to be from everything that's been put out in the world.
Right. And DJ Breeze said it right in the chat, man. He said, don't overthink it. Just go have fun. And, you know, if you want to talk about Dylan, like people that you say, like, they're just ordinary people and they're not the cool kids or whatever, things like that. Like my seminar in Chicago, my very last slide that I gave to everybody said, make every night the night, no matter what it is. Like every event that you should do should be the best event you give it your all every time. Because one thing that I preach to my guys in DJ school, and I just had a DJ school class last night and we covered this part, but like everyone, you may not think it, but someone is always watching and listening to you no matter what you're doing. So you should try to give it 100% every time. If you have those things where you think an event is going to be boring, and we all are going to have events that are boring. Now, not every event is going to be a rager, but try to make that event the best you can possibly make it for that client and for their wants and needs. So make every night the night.
Okay, I have a really good example of that. 2 weeks ago, I was doing a 60th birthday party. And I was in the middle of mixing, I think it was a redrum of Dancing Queen and Party in the USA. Like I was putting them together and it was like an appropriate time to mix them. And literally the entire crowd, as if in unison, turned around to me, the DJ, and said, no, don't mix it. I learned right then and there in that opening set that they really wanted me to slam each track because they wanted to sing and dance to every single song in its entirety. And in that moment, when I started, instead of mixing the music, I just gave them intros and outros and let them do what they needed to do. I was the best DJ in the world because that's what they wanted. Now, for me personally, it was awkward. I didn't want to not mix the music. I never listened to the end of a lot of those songs that I heard that night. But that's what we're talking about here is like doing the best for that specific family is sometimes uncomfortable, but you need to remember that that's what they want you to do and that's what they want you to be.
Yeah, and sometimes. Sorry, I wouldn't hold my mic. But sometimes, Dylan, you got to think like that's part of reading a crowd. Like that is your job to read that audience. Sometimes you have to know like there's certain sets that I'll do where I'll play this song, and this song, you know, at different parties because they go well together and they work. And sometimes you look down and you're like, wow, this crowd could go the other verse that I usually don't play because they're so into this song. So that's your job to read to say, should I let it go another verse or should I go ahead and mix out here like I usually would to get to the next song? But it also goes with kind of how you're booking your clients and what people see and what people expect. I know Jeff kind of mentioned it a little bit. If people see you on social media and they see the type of events that you're doing, you should try to attract people that want those types of events. You should be booking the events that you're good at and that you want. Don't take events just because it's a good paying job and it's not going to be good for what you do, because then you're not doing justice to your clients and what the service should be. You know, it's okay to say no to an event. You know, I've said no to one of the highest paying events because they wanted me to do something that I wasn't comfortable doing and it wasn't going to make sense. So don't always try to take events just because the money's there. Take an event that you know you're going to be able to be successful at and rock at, and go give it 100%, and try to attract the clients that are most like you. People will see you and they'll go, man, that's what I want. And then you can build your business around that.
You know, that's a really interesting thing, because a lot of times we're like, hey, let's just take the cash and run. Let's just book. But I've done the same thing, Nate. I have actually either fired clients of mine, or I have, respectfully said, unfortunately, I don't think we're the right fit to work together. And they're kind of shocked about that. They're like, what do you mean? Is my money no good here? No, it has nothing to do with that. It's just, unfortunately, I don't think we're the right fit. And, you do it with tact, and you do it with respect, and you do it with poise. And my favorite part about that is I'll end up sending them to a competitor. I'll say, hey, these guys might be the right fit for you. And my competitor's like, what do you do? You gave me a client? Like, yeah, I'm playing nice. And like, yeah, it's for you. They're the right fit for you. So,
yeah, and there's times where a client may come to me and they're like, oh, we saw you at this wedding and you were great. And, but my family's way more chill. My friends are way more chill. We're not going to rage that hard, but we just love the way that you guided the night along, and you were really good at emceeing and other things. And they didn't really care too much about the party aspect that I'm going to bring, the high energy level stuff. And I'm like, well, then listen, don't spend the extra $2,000 on me when I've got someone I've trained to do the MC side of things. Like, I've turned down clients and said, spend less money. You're still going to book with my company, but here's another guy that's going to give you exactly what you want. You know what I mean? So sometimes it's better for me, because then, sometimes you go in a where like you'll have 5 or 6 ragers in a row, and then you get to that one wedding where it's just like, man, tonight was not what I wanted. And you kind of leave like, did I mess up? Did I fail? Like, why was the party not as good? And, there's name parties out there. Some people are different. Some people are raised different, their backgrounds, their beliefs, all the different things. So if you just got to take them as they come and go, but try to pick the people that are good for you when having these conversations. Can I speak slower? Me or Dylan?
Yeah, just generally we speak fast. But isn't like most of the time, Nate, you speak really fast. Most of the time you speak really
No way. My God, who is this guy?
Yo,
bro, listen, you know what? Really quick, I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is about clients just wanting to meet on a Wednesday or talk on a Wednesday or do stuff on a Wednesday.
Right at 3:00.
And whenever we have QSC, man, it never fails. What's up, boys?
It's like they want to talk to you every other Wednesday at 3 p.m.
Well, that's about it for today. Thank you so much.
We're going to wrap up. Jordan, thanks for joining us. He's gone anyways.
Yeah, he's done.
Bye, Jordan.
Well, that was Jordan Marshall out of Manalapan, Monmouth County, New
Jersey. He made it.
All right. I don't know if he's coming back in. We were planning on doing a shortened show, just for all the different appointments that all of us have. But I think that our families and our clients deserve realness in their coordination process, and it takes a special kind of customer care to say that you're not the right fit. And that's where having a multi-op or growing into a multi-op or having other connections like you'd meet at a DJ trade show available to you that's maybe a different or conflicting style with yours makes you an even better subject matter expert. Yeah. It just makes it better. It makes you a more dynamic professional because you can recommend someone that's better for them. And your clients are going to appreciate that. They're going to say, oh, wow, he really, they're going to think, oh, I'm not good enough. They're going to think, oh, I am not the right fit for that individual. He pointed me in the direction that I really hit someone off with. And that's good. The fact that you had options like that, Nate, we have options. Jeff, you have a billion options at the SCE connection. So, there's a flavor ice cream for everyone. And if you can know what those flavors are and how to navigate them, you'll become a much more well-rounded professional.
Jeff, do you turn down clients often?
Well, for me, I have turned down stuff that like doesn't make sense. A lot of times for me, I kind of like the challenge sometimes of like doing something different. And like, I'm a tech geek, so anything having to do with like production and stuff, I'm all about. If I don't know it, saying yes and learning it, or I know someone who can do it. But like, just kind of on a side note of this, am I still on? Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
Yeah, I was gonna say on a side note of this, just from last year, just talking about different personalities, is I've probably done 30 events this year that weren't mine because of calendar conflict. So it was interesting for me to know, like, I was doing an event for like Tony in my company, or Christian in my company, or Jan and I in my company. And since I know their personalities and who they attract, brand, for the SCE wedding we're doing, you're like, oh, we had Tony. He had to reschedule his ready books. You're doing him. I'm like, all right, I know Tony. He mixes a little different than me. He's got a little different style. So let me try and emulate like some of that flavor. So the client feels that not only is SCE professional, but, Tony's recommendation that, hey, like, I'm not available. You're going to meet with Jeff. He's going to take care of you. Like,
How's that for slowing down?
when,
One word at a time. Jeff, we're losing you, man.
I think I get what you're saying.
I think having a multi-op or people that or being able to adapt might lose you.
It's all right, Jeff. I love you anyway. No, it's true. What is the red flag for you, Nate, that that this isn't the right fit for you client-wise? Like, hey, this is not the right for me.
There's multiple variables. Someone that doesn't, I guess, sometimes I've met with people that their mom was at an event or their dad was at an event and they saw me and they really enjoyed what I did. And then they'll come to me and I'll meet with the actual client and the client's like, yeah, music's really not our thing. We're homebodies. We never go out. We don't dance. Our friends don't dance. Like, we just want a chill background. But I actually just met with a client 2 weeks ago that for a wedding in Houston. And they're like, we work in the restaurant industry and we are always working, kind of similar to what we do in our professions where we sacrifice our weekends. And we don't get to see our friends very often. So when we do, we want to be able to actually like talk and hang out. So our reception portion of the night, we want it to be more like a cocktail hour. Again, not a lot of dancing, just you playing some background music with us, just being able to chat with our friends and have conversations and maybe play some games and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, that's definitely cool. That's something I could do. But for me, I really want to, I like a challenge. I'm kind of like Jeff. I'm up for the challenge of trying to see if we can get that party going, but they didn't want it. They didn't want the party. Now I'm more than happy to come and be a great MC for you and put on a background sound, soundtrack for your little dinner party that you want to have. But, I don't know that it's in their best interest to spend that type of money on something like that when they can have somebody else from my team do it, for half the price.
I'll tell you, the biggest red flag for me is if the first words out of their mouth is, how much does it cost? That's a big red flag for me. And I know that sounds kind of pompous, but if the thing that you're equating to value is the dollars spent as opposed to the emotional drive that our company provides and the memory that's built around it, I'm probably not the right fit for you, because there's so much more than they're going to equate a 5-hour event to $5,000. They're going to say, well, why is it worth $1,000 an hour? And I have to now prove to them, either you're going to equate it that way and I'm never going to win, or I can prove to you that we're actually going to spend 1,000 hours together creating a relationship, building a vibe together, and understanding how we can best elevate your celebration. That's kind of what a big red flag for me is if the first words out of your mouth is, we saw you at such and such event, how much does it cost? That's a turnoff for me in a lot of cases for my families, because it shows that you're not really interested in what we do. You're worried about, this.
Luckily for me, it doesn't happen that much, like where I'm having to turn people away. It recently happened to me, and then I think I did, back in 2018, but it's not something that I'm doing all the time. So, typically the people see, I would say 90% of my referrals come from people being at an event that I did and them enjoying what they did, and number is not an issue to them at that point. Typically a lot of my events are high end. Their friends are high, people in a high end market typically hang out with people that are also in another high end market. So dollar wise, they're probably asking their friends what they paid for me before they ever reach out to me, because they're asking their friends, yo, can I get Nate's number? So they already know those things. So that's a benefit. And I don't get the how much very often. But when I do, it is a red flag for sure. It's one of those things is like, you're asking me because you want to go spend, what the wedding wire not tells you, $1,100 is the average or whatever.
Yeah.
You want to spend that, and it's not going to be there. But
Yeah.
what's up, Jordan?
Am I coming in here, guys, or no?
Yeah, you're good.
What's that?
Yeah, chilling, dude.
Yeah. All right, nice. So just to piggyback on what you're saying, Nate, I think that, man, it's such a great point, because I remember probably about like 4 or 5 years ago when I really started to like piggyback over from being the mitzvah guy into doing boutique style weddings. Clients would call up and they were used to like getting like a bulk price, everything being all in, and like Dylan, like you were saying, like being like, how much is it? But what's the rate for this 5-hour party? I think now that we've started to set, like myself, we started to separate ourselves from the pack and doing higher caliber event work. Nick, like you're saying, like the client's doing the research and the homework. So, the clients that are coming to me and hitting the DM or calling for me specifically, it's not so much the price. It's like, all right, I know how much you're coming in at or what you're starting your cost at. Now tell me why. Prove it to me. You know what I mean? Like, show me why you're this much money. So I think once you can start to make that swing, Dylan, for you too, a little bit too, like being a little bit newer to our team, coming from that mitzvah end and starting to get into wedding stuff a lot more, you're going to find that once you separate yourself, man, the clients are going to know, who they're messing with. So, agreed, Nate. Totally.
Heck yeah. Well, guys, I don't want to, Jordan, you just joined us, but I don't want to cut you guys short, but a lot of us have commitments in the next 13 minutes that we've got to get to. And so we want to try to wrap these things up in courtesy of Brad, who's on the back end. He's definitely got something he's got to go to, and he's got to end this thing for us. So let's go around the room real quick. Let everybody know where you're at this weekend, what you got coming up, anything cool to look forward to. Dylan, hit us with it.
Yeah, so this weekend, Jeff, you would love the event I'm doing this weekend. First of all, it's a Miami white theme, so everyone's gonna be decked out in all white. It's gonna be absolutely nuts for the nicest people in the world. But Jeff, check this out. We are doing all the video production, all of the lighting production, all the staging, all the DJ console production, and I'm running everything as a one-man because everyone's gonna be out there. So I'm running video, lighting, and all of the music programming for this mitzvah while the team is out there. I'm doing it all. I'm going to send you guys photos. It's going to be intense. I'm going to have like 4 laptops around me. It's going to be so cool. I'm so excited. And also I get to mix a lot of like the old school hip hop that I didn't get to play for a long time. So I'm psyched about that on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Jordan and I are actually going to do an event together. I'm emceeing, Jordan's DJing for a family. So I'm very excited about that for a family that's for a local photographer of ours. So I got Saturday, Sunday. Jeff, what do you got?
I have tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Tomorrow's a Sweet 16, and then the rest are all weddings. So I'm kind of all over the place. I'm doing a lot of driving. Up and down Jersey.
As you are now. Jordan, where are you at?
Yes, I am now.
Yeah. Jordan, where are you at? Because I told everyone where you're at on Sunday. Where are you at on Saturday?
Where am I at? This week. So this Friday night, tomorrow is either the Bradford or the Concourse. So a rooftop action. Saturday night, we have a wedding. I'm sorry, a mitzvah that I'm doing with Mike actually at B'nai Tikva, which is awesome, man. We got a really great family, twins. So it is a B'nai mitzvah. So we're gonna rock that. And I know we're not next weekend, but we XPlosive and myself are just we are to huge hot mitzvah next weekend. So that's really what I'm putting together.
Yeah. Okay, so what he was saying was what he's saying is that in a couple of weeks he's actually traveling to San Francisco to do an event, which is cool because we've been planning that for a long time. Nate, where you at?
I had a wedding cancel. I didn't cancel it, postponed to 2022 because the bride's family's from France and the travel restrictions. So I've got a rehearsal dinner at a nice little club here Friday night, and then I'm kind of off Saturday. We've got our yearly LeForce splash party that we do, which is getting all of our families, our kids, everybody together at a big pool party, celebrating together. We're doing that Saturday morning, so looking forward to that and getting all the kids together and the families together for that. And then, yeah, man, just working on a lot of new content and rocking some things out. We got homecomings coming up for all of our royalty tour stuff. So looking forward to a sweet fall, man.
Yeah. As long as this Delta variant gets under control, we'll be in good shape too. It's annoying on our side of the bridge at this
Absolutely,
point.
brother. Feel you there.
All right. Well, stay safe, everyone. We appreciate you checking in for this shortened DJ discussion. Play Out Loud via QSC.
It wasn't really shortened. It's 250. So we went the distance.
Yeah.
I apologize for Jeff and Jordan's lack of internet service. I know Jeff is driving, and Jeff, we appreciate you taking the time to be here with us as you're commuting between events and jobs and things like that. But it's good to be here with you guys every other Wednesday.
Go make that paper, guys.
Make that paper.
Yo,
Same.
and Nate, we'll be coming back with some fantasy football talk soon on our podcast. So let's keep on keeping on.
Yeah, I just want the record to be known right now. The Cowboys are going to the playoffs, and Dylan's going to owe me a lot of money. Publicly. We can go back and watch this later.
Yep, I'll take the bet. Yeah, the Cowboys are not making the playoffs.
Peace, baby.
Until we see you next time.